Hello folks, and welcome to a new chapter in Watch Time Plus. This is my first watch review in a very long time. It's been years actually. I'm in a new shop, I'm in a new place, I have all new lighting. This is my fourth take, so that tells you I'm a little bit rusty doing this. I had some technical issues with glare from all of the new lights that I have here, and I tried several different microphones and found all kinds of noises and whatnot. So anyway, I think I got all of that ironed out, so hopefully this will go smoother than the prior three that I did on this very same watch, which I couldn't publish. So anyway, here we go. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this watch and why I got it. I'm going to unbox it. But let's start with why I bought this watch. I bought this watch because my Citizen, one of my favorite watches in the world, my Citizen Eco Drive Diver, died on me. I use it to swim, and one day I looked at it and it wasn't ticking. I'm like, I know it had plenty of sun, so that's not it. And I doubted the battery was bad after only a few years. So I tried to reset it, and when I went to go turn the crown, it wouldn't move. It was like frozen. So I go to turn, this is a screw down crown, so I'm going to turn it, I'm turning, no budging. So finally I grabbed hold of it real good and I twisted as hard as I could and it unscrewed. And what came out? The stem broke. So the stem broke off inside the watch. Like, oh no. So I took the watch apart, took the screw down case back off, which the seal was fine. The seal seemed to be fine on the crown, and it was all rusted out inside there. So evidently water got in there, it corroded, and it died. I found a movement online, but it didn't come with a stem or a crown. I could have just done, most movements come with a stem. This one, for whatever reason, no stem. So I couldn't, I had no choice but to send it into Citizen. And they wanted almost as much as a new watch, and I just decided, well, I didn't want to spend another 200 and change on another watch, and I didn't want to spend like 180 to get it fixed from Citizen, because as you can see, it's got some, it's got some wear and tear on it. So if I was going to replace it, I was just going to replace it outright, and I decided not to. So I went on the cheap, and I bought this Casio dive watch to replace it. And this watch, I looked on Amazon, I looked on the Casio website. I couldn't find a name for this watch. It just says Casio Dive Watch, 200 millimeter. That's it. So the model number is MDV-106. And you can see by this luxurious packaging, oops, it's actually upside down, but there's your tag. As far as packaging goes, and we're going to start the unboxing here, about as cheap as you could get. Something you'd see maybe with a cheap Timex or such. And equally cheesy and cheap, just, thin plastic. Not much going on there. The rest of the box isn't any better. It's just this cheesy. And that's it there. The watch comes super protected with this special plastic, and it comes on this little watch stand. Inside the watch stand, like a lot of these more inexpensive watches, is this Casio 1-year warranty and the instruction manual. And it doesn't have much in the way of instructions, but how to set the time and stuff like that. It's about 10 different languages, that's why it's so thick. Anyway, that's junk as well. So we're left with the watch, and I'm going to be wiping it off regularly. Try to keep my hands clean and dry, but you know how that goes. Let me take it off its luxurious case here. So let's see, what does it say here? It says, 3-hand analog anti-reverse rotating bezel, date display, 200-meter water resistant. And that's it. Like I said, no name anywhere. Let's open this up and I'll give you some specs. I will measure after I go through this, or maybe as I go along. So 200 meters water resistance. The case measures 49.5 lug to lug. And I did verify that with my calipers. It measures, they say 46.3. That's from here to the end of the crown. And that does also measure according to my calipers. But I like measuring it from like here to here to give it a better feel how it's going to look on the wrist. And that comes out to 44. So if someone tells you they got a 40 millimeter watch or a 44 millimeter watch, this is basically the measurement. Mostly, this is the measurement they're talking about. So, you know, it's a little bit large. It doesn't look that bad on the wrist, but it is a little bit large. It weighs, for those who care, 92 grams. It has a 22 millimeter band, so it's a pretty hefty band. Although, I got to tell you, this band isn't great, but it's comfortable. They say it's made out of stainless steel and aluminum, and what they're talking about is it's stainless steel case, it's polished on the sides, it's brushed on the top and the bottom. And the one-way bezel is aluminum. It has a very high glare mineral glass crystal. I was trying to get this set up so the glare wasn't crazy when it was on the desk. You'll see some of it here, like that, for instance, but I need lighting. I couldn't have no lighting, so I kind of Mickey Moused it here so it didn't glare so much. Anyway, does have a screw-down crown, which is very nice for a watch at this price point. They say accuracy is plus or minus 20 seconds per month. It has a Miyota quartz movement. The MSRP on this on the Casio website is $74.95. You can pick it up right now for $49.95 on Amazon. And I do have the link to this product in the description. So getting a little closer here. It's not bad. We're going to get real close. If anyone who's looked at my reviews before knows, we're going to get super close-ups here. We're going to look at everything down to the smallest indices, all blown up. But this is actually done very well. The outer bezel numbers are crisp and they're clear. The inner indices are all, they're pretty perfect. And when you look up close, you'll be surprised at the quality of this watch and on the dial. I've seen watches much more expensive than this, where you can see little imperfections on the indices, especially the bigger ones. And you'll see that the hands have lume in them, and sometimes you'll see that spill over on a close-up. You'll see little jagged edges, but this is absolutely crisp and clean. There's none of that on this watch. It's pretty amazing. The band is kind of iffy. This band is 100 times better, and not just because it has all of this kind of nonsense on it, but I wanted to replace this with this, but you can see that this is an 18. Oops, I'm sorry. This is an 18, and this is a 22. So that was a no-go. So I went on Amazon, as we all do, and I wanted a blue band. So I just ordered a blue band, and unfortunately, I threw it in a drawer. I got busy, and I forgot all about it because I was going to do a review on this watch. I put them both in the drawer, and the band I pulled out of the package, and this is it. So as you can tell by looking at this and this, you know what? This is a blue background, so this might screw this up, but this is more purple than it is blue. I did like the whole buckleless clasp here. It feels really nice. It's real soft silicone, and it's 22 millimeters, and it would fit on there perfectly. But I don't know if I'm going to wear it. I mean, it's really kind of bugs me that it's kind of purpley. I don't know. We'll see. But it's not bad. I mean, if you look at the thickness of this, it's pretty good. I think I paid $10 for it. So we'll see if I put it on there or not. I'm not quite sure. As we get a little closer, you can see that there really is no comparison of these two watches at all. They look completely different. The quality is definitely, you can feel it. just kind of like picking it up, you can feel the weight of this compared to this. But, you know, it doesn't look bad. For a replacement, for what I was getting for $40 versus $200 and change, I decided to save a few bucks, and I'm not disappointed. So let's do this. Well, first things first, I'm going to open the back of this watch up. So why don't I do that and show you how I open the back up, and then we're going to do some real close-ups of the front and the back, and then we'll kind of wrap it up from there. When I'm opening one of these screw-down case backs, and both of these are screw-down case backs, I always try to use my rubber ball first. You'll see the description, a link to this in the description as well. It's kind of a tacky rubber. It's specifically made for this task. You just kind of, I put some tape on there to build up the height so I can cut down the glare of this watch. Anyway, push the ball in real hard. There's a little tab, so push the ball in real hard, try and turn it. But, you know, it's just too tight. It's very hard to get off, so I have to go to plan B. And you can get one of these on Amazon. Link will be in the description too. I think they're about $5 or $6. These little guys are very sharp. So when you're using this, make sure you're right inside these grooves and that it's snug. You snug it up real good. Otherwise, what's going to happen is when you go to turn it, it might slip out and you'll scratch your watch back. And that's not going to look very nice. So let me get it just right. Okay, there we go. Nice and snug. And turn. There you go. So you see, give it a little. I'll give it a half a turn with that, and then I'm going to go back to this. You'll see how it turns. And then we'll pop the back off. These threads are very large, so sometimes they catch back on again. There we go. The back is off, and you can see back there is all you're going to see right now is this protector for the movement. And it's also a spacer. It keeps everything lined up in the center. That's what these are for. You're going to find it on almost every quartz watch that you ever open. And let me get my tool. I'm going to pop this out here very carefully. Make sure I don't hurt anything. And there is our movement. So just to give you an idea about the size of this thing before we do the close-ups, just want to zero it out. So the entire movement is only 13 millimeters wide. That's how small it is. And let's see how long it is. Let's call it 18. So pretty much any watch you get, including the giant Invictas that you see that are like, you know, putting a quarter-pound hamburger on your wrist, when you open them up, all said and done, this is the same movement you see in 99% of the watches you get if it's a quartz watch. Some of them are bigger, especially the ones that have lights in them and whatnot. The movement will be square and it'll be much bigger than this. But this is basically what you get. We'll do some close-ups. Let me get that all set up and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here is a super close-up. There is the swordfish at the bottom of the watch. There's what it says, Japan movement. There's your second hand. You can see this date dial, the date window. It's actually done really well. I mean, it looks like, however they printed this, there's no pixelation or smudging or anything. It's absolutely crisp and clear. I mean, that line, those lines around there have to be just a fraction of a millimeter. And if you even look at the small indices around the outer dial, I mean, everything is darn near perfect. You don't normally see that on this price point. You just don't. And I know something that bugs a lot of you guys is the way the bezel lines up with 12 o'clock. And I don't know how you can get any more exact than that. It's right there on the money. I'm going to move the lighting around so you can see it at different, maybe at different angles, but it is absolutely 100% right on the money. You cannot ask for anything better. Let's take a look. Before we spend any time on the movement, I just wanted you to see the case back. The swordfish is absolutely, well, pretty darn near perfect for its size. The engravings on for the movement, which is you see at 2784, Japanese movement. And the wording is also water resistant 20 bar. Again, looks very clean. Nice finish, nice brush finish on the back. And as you get down on the sides here, it's more of a polished finish. Now let's look at the movement. As is always when you open these things up, you see these tiny little movements. I mean, this movement is around 3/4 of an inch tall and maybe just a little bit less than that wide. And that's all there is to it, folks. The most exciting part of this movement is probably the battery. You can see, if you look real close in the middle there, you can see that second-hand gear moving. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. This is a standard SH626 SW battery. No jewels. That's it, folks. There's nothing in here. There's just a lot of dead space as you go around. Here. There's the crown. Now, when it comes to fit and finish, the crown is just, probably just either some pot metal that they've chrome plated. Nothing to write home about there. But the case is actually finished very well. Standard spring bars holding the band on. Again, 22 millimeters. And that's it. That's what you get. I'm going to do a long shot on this so you can see actually how long that is. So as far as the close-ups, there's really nothing else to show here. I could actually put this under a microscope. I have it under a macro lens right now, but if I put it under the microscope, you would see the battery would take up the whole screen, but what is the point? This is everything there is to see. All right, here comes the lume shot. I'm going to charge these with a UV light, so we get kind of a fair balance as to what's going to go on here. They've not been subjected to sunlight in quite a while. They've both been in the drawer, as a matter of fact. So I want to give them both a little bit of juice to start up here. And here we go. All right. We can tell out of the gate that almost immediately we're losing visibility on the Casio, which is on the right. And the Citizen looks exactly the same. It hasn't changed at all. And as I'm talking here, we're at roughly 1 minute, and the Casio continues to fade and fade and fade. And because I've done this once before, I can tell you that pretty much at a 2-minute mark, this watch would not be usable for any type of real diving. I mean, this would be a suicide watch going down if you would use this in any kind of murky water and worried about your, keeping track of time of your tanks or something like that. I just swim in my swimming pool, so I suppose it's safe enough. But yeah, the lume is terrible. It's applied perfectly, but it's just crappy lume. The Citizen will stay lit like this for hours, especially after charging. So as we fast approach the 2-minute mark of this test, you can tell that the lume is really kind of useless. And I don't know that if this is a deciding factor for you, then this is not your watch. All right, and to wrap this up, I'm going to put it on my wrist. We'll see how it looks that way. Suspenseful, I know. And there you go. I have an average size wrist, and there's plenty of room left in the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more positions. So if you're a big guy, the keeper is looks like it will withstand. A lot of these things break, you know, prematurely. This one looks like it should last quite some time. It doesn't look like a 49mm watch on my wrist. I mean, that's like Invictus size, but it doesn't look anywhere near that on my wrist. It's very comfortable looking. It doesn't feel awkward. And, you know, it looks great. Like I said, the blues are deep and vibrant on the dial and on the bezel. The numbers look great. The hands look great. You know, it looks like a much more expensive watch. I mean, this definitely outperforms its $50 price point. So would I recommend this watch? I absolutely would. I haven't taken it swimming yet. I hope it does better than this guy did, but I do swim with my watch on, and you know, I don't know why, I just do. I'm going to try this guy later, but there's an example of what it would look like. You guys tell me in the comments whether you think it's worth putting this on, or, you know, that I go to plan B and maybe either keep this one and don't worry about it, or find something that's a truer, you know, more toned down blue than this one on the right. So I'm going to have some beauty shots here in a moment, but that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed making it again, or making any watch video again. And I do have a couple of more coming down the pipe, including my crown jewel. That'll be a surprise for those of you who haven't seen my previous announcement video. So that's it. We'll be talking to you soon, and hopefully I'll have a new watch video out within the next few weeks or so. Take care.